I was at a conference and I heard Robin DiAngelo say to a room of hundreds of white women, I was one of them, white women, your tears are a form of bullying. And in that moment, something clicked. And the first thing I thought of right there in that moment, in that conference room, was the day I got my license at age 16. And my mom said to me, if you get stopped by a policeman, just cry and get out of your ticket. And, I did that a few times and it worked really well. So I was sitting there having that memory and having just heard Robin's words thinking, well, wow, there is this form of crying I've done that's to get out of stuff. And I remembered my early marriage when my husband would want to talk about something, point out something that wasn't working for him about me, or I would cry. It was so hard to hear about that. And he would often say, okay, it's not that big a deal. Like, we don't have to talk about this. Fascinating. So that would get me out of having to hear something negative about myself. It also meant we weren't resolving issues. So it's a really dysfunctional way of being in the world. So this really opened up an interesting thought process for me, turning over this idea. And I started to make a connection that may be obvious to you, but it wasn't obvious to me, that there is a connection between being taught to use tears to get out of situations and an utter lack of tools to really intelligently, robustly, courageously navigate conflict or manage myself in a really difficult, emotionally difficult situation. I just was not raised with that set of tools. In fact, I was raised to avoid conflict. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Don't rock the boat. I think white tears are, whether they're intentional or unintentional, they come from this place of not being taught more mature ways to navigate the world. And of course, it's in the interests of some people for women to stay weak. So